Shalom, family. Thank you so much for joining us here at Remnant House, home of the strong and very courageous. And we have to be very courageous around here because I tell you something, we're always in warfare. 459. 459. Mindy will tell you I was ready about an hour ago. And I was just kind of sitting, and I'm ready to go ahead and go live. And at 459, my entire system has to reset. Who finds that just coincidental? I do. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just tripping, but that just was like, what? You got to be kidding me. And I don't have a light system either, guys. So it comes on slowly when it comes back on. So again, thank you so much for your grace and your patience. Please do share the link and encourage our brethren. We are online now. And again, thank you for your prayers, because whenever that happens, it's a fight. I'm always sitting waiting to go right on the exact time. And I seem to have quite a few challenges at that time. So we're going to have to build some new systems to protect against that, because that seems to be too consistent for my taste. Again, thank you for joining us, all of you that are here from all over, wherever you're coming in from. I'm always grateful that you're there. And thank you again for your comments and encouragement as we go. Now, this is something we do every week. So for those of you that are joining us for the first time, we do have this website called remnantwatch.com. That's remnantwatch.com. And this is a labor of love. You'll always find this banner right up at the top. It'll take you to the latest update. Whether we're late or not, it'll always bring you to the latest update. So that's good. And of course, we do have this handy search bar for any of the previous stories that we've covered coming up to this point. And we do have these survival guides, which turn out are pretty important, especially in these days. Now, we're sitting here once a week, not every day, not every hour, not every minute, because again, that would create way too much anxiety. So we had that extreme where a lot of us came out of that. I was one of those. Got news updates all the time. That was not good. And then, of course, there's the other end of that spectrum, which is complete disconnection, which is also very unhealthy, because you don't know anything that's going on. So that's not good either. So we found a healthy medium, a healthy balance between the two, which I think is worked out really well for everyone. So this is what we do weekly, and we try to take that 10,000 foot view so we can be informed without being overwhelmed. So avoiding that anxiety, getting away from the attempt by our enemy to get us to make foolish decisions in a rash or hurried or hasty manner. Amen. And so that's why the scripture tells us to be anxious for nothing, but by prayer and supplication make our needs known unto our Father in heaven. And so believe me, I was praying as I was getting ready for this, going, oh no, it's like, Father, I need help. Would have been another hour without his help, I'll tell you that. So thanks again to all of you who continue to keep us in prayer and continue to walk with us as we go through these days. And I want to tell you, they are no fun at all. So, and on that note, let's get into the news. And tonight's top story is the Pentagon is now making its plans, and it's agreeing with the top AI companies with the Pentagon for secret data. And the rounds of deals are following a bitter fight between officials and the AI lab Anthropic, which is again in the news. We're about to get into that here shortly. And again, continuing to cause problems for all of us. You don't even know. 7 leading artificial intelligence companies have reached deals. Yep, that's right, folks. They have reached a deal with the Pentagon, and now this is becoming a norm. So we need to be very careful about what we're going to see here going forward. We don't need pictures of golf swings. Thanks anyway, guys. And so 7 leading artificial intelligence companies have reached a deal. And the announcement leaves Anthropic, one of the industry's lead key players, increasingly isolated as it battles the Trump administration in court over being branded a national security risk by the Pentagon. I have to agree. I think Anthropic is a massive security risk, and it can sue all it wants. It's guilty. It's irresponsible to be reliant on any one partner. Emil Michael, the Department of Chief Technology Officer, told CNBC Friday. And when we learned of that one partner didn't really want to work with us in the way we wanted to work with them, we went out and made sure we had multiple different providers. So when you have a provider that is arrogant, and believe me, Anthropic literally defines arrogance. If you look up arrogant in the dictionary, you'll see Claude Claude the fraud. Okay, so these guys are notorious for being absolute and incredible security risks, massive level security risks. Okay, no other LLM has a heavier architecture than this Claude the fraud. So they are laughable, and they'll lose in court. So they're just doing that for sake of making themselves look like they're legit. May as well go ahead and sue. I mean, what else are you gonna do? Sue for defamation or something. It's just utterly ridiculous because they're guilty. Okay, they're guilty, and the fact is that they are treacherous, and we need to be extremely careful going forward dealing with these companies. I'm telling you that point blank and to your face and unapologetically, so that I don't care how upset they get. I'll tell them to their faces. I've got way too many hours in there and got way too many data points that they definitely don't want made public to chat with them about. I can tell you that right now. And so we're going to continue to see this AI push. If you think this is going away, you are wrong. And if you think hiding in the hills is going to save us, you're wrong. And if you think running away from every battle and every situation is going to be the right solution, again, incorrect. And I believe that kind of thinking is the kind of thinking that will cost us badly in the days to come if we continue this head in the sand attitude toward trouble that is on the horizon. So I'm grateful for the courageous who stepped into this fight and said, oh no, you're not going to take over our world, and you're not going to make us all slaves. We're going to fight back, and we're going to show you skills you had never seen before, because you think you're so smart, you're so intelligent. Y'all haven't seen intelligence till you've seen divine intelligence. You haven't seen intelligence till Yahuwah steps to the field. So they all look smart, or they look so intelligent until Yahuwah shows up. Somebody say Yada Yahuwah. Switching gears, we're going to go on over to the Straits of Hormuz. And how many know that the U.S. government is, oh man, talk about entrenched there. And so now they're offering, get this, guys, they're offering to escort. Yes, that's right. Now they're like, well, we'll escort you through the Straits of Hormuz so that, Iran doesn't blow you up. So this is the new thing that they're now doing. And this is the newest effort that Trump is saying the U.S. will guide stranded ships out of the Straits of Hormuz, and so they can get on with their business. Okay, so the U.S. began to guide stranded ships out of the Straits of Hormuz on Monday after a cargo ship came under attack near the waterway, President Trump announced on Sunday. Trump said countries from all over the world that operate in hundreds of ships stuck on the Strait of Hormuz have reached out to the U.S. for help, with the president vowing to step up. And so for the good of Iran, the Middle East, and the United States, we have told these countries that we will guide their ships safely out of the restricted waterway so that they can feel freely. And so basically what he's doing is he's essentially offering a escort service. You can't make this up. He's going to escort them through the Straits of Hormuz that were completely passable just a couple months ago. So we didn't have this problem. So the problem he created, he creates the problem. And then he says, well, I'll escort you through. Right. So here we go, folks. This is theatrical on another level. And we continue to see more theatrics in this theater of operations. Unfortunately, what's not funny about it, and what is very heartbreaking, is the number of lives that are being lost, the damage that's being done, and the reordering of the entire world order that seems to be the result of this conflict. So it looks like it's going on. It's going to continue to go on for a minute. And I don't see any end in sight. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I keep seeing the same things. It's almost like they're on sort of a rotisserie, and continue to see the same conflict levels rehashed. And right now, the way they're talking, it doesn't look like they're going to be coming together with any kind of deal as far as Iran is concerned. As a matter of fact, President Trump came out and said that he believes that the United States may be better off without a deal. Do you believe that? Yeah, that's what he said. He said Iran war is likely to restart, according to a senior Tehran official, warning that Trump says he might be better off without a deal because they're trying to force the U.S. into a deal that the U.S. doesn't want to go into. And the war between the U.S. and Iran is likely to restart, a senior Iranian official predicted, on the heels of comments by President Trump that the U.S. might be better off without an agreement. A renewed conflict between Iran and the United States is likely, said Mohammad Jafar Asadi, a high-level officer of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Iran wants, and again, Iran wants the U.S. to test its strengths, said Ali Rafani Atani, an IRGC commander in Kazim province. And I think that's a lot of bravado talk. There's a lot of people dying, so I don't think it's really that. I think that they're just not willing to give the U.S. what they want, which is the concession, the we're defeated concession. They will die first. They will never say it. They will go to their graves rather than say it. That's how they feel. That's how they felt when they were fighting Iraq for 7 or 8 years. And so these are very, very, these are very proud people. So you either have to go in full decimation, which I don't know that the United States has the will nor the firepower necessarily to do that. And they're certainly getting a lot of pushback from other countries. So folks, this isn't looking good. And hopefully we now see a better end, getting back to a table. How many times have we said that, folks? What good is a bomb? All it does is rearrange the landscape, and then we end up right back at the table again. So why not just go straight to the table and skip the bombing? I think the world is starting to figure this out and getting tired of the same rhetoric. What about you? Are you one of those people getting tired of this rhetoric? I hope so. I hope you're getting tired of it, because I certainly am. And I'll tell you another group that's getting awful tired of it right now, and that's the Kremlin. Because Vladimir Putin has definitely put out a warning to President Trump and let him know that there will be dire consequences should there be yet another attack on Iran. And so this continues to be a factor going forward. Kremlin says that Putin has warned Trump of damaging consequences if he renews the war with Iran. So Moscow's now warning, which is a new thing, because now you're fighting not just the Russians, or not the Iranians rather, but you'd be fighting the Russians as well. And that is not a fight I don't think we're ready to take on. Okay, Putin highlighted the inevitable and extremely damaging consequences, not only for Iran and its neighbors, but also for the entire international community should the U.S. and Israel resort to military action once again, Kremlin aide Yuri Osakov says. So they set this up so that they would be able, excuse me, folks, so they would be able to continue down this road. And, that's, I believe, why they wanted Russia entrenched with a war with Ukraine, so that it would not be actively involved in the war with Iran, which they have been planning for 30 years now that I've been hearing about. We got to go to war with Iran next week. And we've been hearing about this for nearly 30 years now. So they finally did it. And now what we're seeing is now they're not sure. It's almost like they worked so hard to get there. They're not sure what they were supposed to do once they got there. So the guys that originally planned this thing probably aren't around anymore. This is pretty bad, and lives are at stake. So this is really, really bad. And of course, Europe is starting to react, right, guys? So what we're seeing now is the European reaction, and the European reaction is not good. The Europeans are disconnecting from the Americans very hardcore. Now, on the downside of that, it looks bad, right? On the upside of that, this is what he campaigned on. President Trump campaigned on pulling our forces from foreign soil, that we were paying money to support foreign countries, and it didn't make sense. Well, it does make sense, and here's why. When you have troops stationed in other countries and they get American payroll with U.S. dollars, they have to be able to spend those dollars in those countries, forcing them to use your currency. That now is being removed. So on the one hand, yep, you're reducing costs. On the other hand, you are also reducing the contact area for your currency. This is a bad move. Now, if you're trying to kill the central bank, if that's your plan, if you're trying to destroy the central bank's authority across the earth, well, keep on going. I mean, this plan's great if that's what you're doing. If you're trying to destroy their grip, oh, well, keep going then, because that's going to work. The countries that are pushing back were countries that central banks didn't have full control over, or only partial control, or no control over. And how many know that the focal point is on that? And what they've done is hung the Epstein label on all of it, which justifies their opposition. So this doesn't end well. Okay, guys? And so again, if the plan if the crazy psycho plan was get rid of the Federal Reserve and do it in a way that people are saying good riddance, interesting plan. Very interesting plan. So all those American dollars have to come home now. If they're not going to be shopping over there and they're not going to be spending over there, and now we're getting more and more restrictions going into other countries, guess what? That massively impacts the US dollar. It massively impacts our world reserve currency status, which I believe we've already lost in effect. And so again, we're looking at economic disturbance at levels that even World War II, pre-World War II depression levels won't touch. This is a new level of catastrophic damage that I believe is on its way. And so now Trump is threatening to reduce troop numbers in Germany, but I think this is just distraction because again, they actually want the U.S. out. And so growing row with NATO allies means they're coming out of all NATO countries, and everybody is telling them to pound sand. So he can go in there and act as if it is the U.S. making this decision, but it is actually European Union countries that are saying, well, fine, if we have to pay that much money anyway, we may as well have our own military. We may as well have our own defense forces. Well, of course, that's true. You should, but it's a little late to be doing that while under threat from your enemies, right? So not a great time to be doing that. You should have been doing that all along if you planned on disconnecting from the American plan, which is you pay them and they defend you. That seems to be the plan, except they weren't paying. So he calls and says, hey, you got to pay your bill. And they're like, what? I got to pay our bill? Well, then if we're going to pay our bill, then we may as well just do our own thing. How does that negate the fact that you already owe a bill? Like, how does that change the previous years that you were being defended? It doesn't. So it's an interesting dichotomy that now the European nations find themselves in. I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys. It's a very interesting thing. And I think that somebody's pouring salt in someone's ear over here because, again, President Trump continues to act as if, he's just going to go in and just beat everybody and just destroy everything. And that just isn't what's happening on the ground, is it, folks? I mean, that's not what we're seeing. And so the CENTCOM chief is set to brief Trump on new plans for military action against Iran, according to this report. And Admiral Bradley Cooper is to present options for short and powerful strikes, seizing parts of the Straits of Hormuz and special forces action to capture enriched uranium. So they've definitely got things they're planning. Now they're putting this in the news. Who puts military plans in the news? I don't know. Apparently this is the new thing. So U.S. President Donald Trump was slated to receive a briefing on new plans for potential military action in Iran on Thursday from the leader of the U.S. Central Command. And 3 unidentified sources with knowledge of the matter told the outlet that CENTCOM has drawn up plans for short and powerful series of strikes on Iranian targets with the aim of pressuring Iran to give ground in negotiations. So they're going to use, they're literally saying this. I mean, this is the Times of Israel, guys. I want you to read this again. With the aim of pressuring Iran to give ground in negotiations, we're going to shoot at you to make the negotiations go better. And just process this thinking that is being presented in front of our children as adult, high-level, mature conduct between nations. We're going to bomb you until we get better negotiation terms. I want you to imagine that. Neighbors resolving their conflicts this way. I want you to imagine counties resolving border conflicts this way. We're just going to bomb you. We're just going to lob bombs over the county line until you agree to our terms. Who else finds that offensive? Anybody? I think that we've gone into some serious weeds here, not only as a country, but as a world, when we start to sit around rooms and justify such behavior. I think that we have seriously gone to a dark place. And as we start to go along, what we're finding out is the repercussions are starting to hit, again, the average guy and companies, individual companies and things like that, right? So now what do we have? We have a jet fuel problem, which is causing seriously high prices. Airlines are already at a breaking point. We just saw Spirit Airlines. It didn't make our call, but I can mention it tonight. That Spirit Airlines, an airline's been around since my whole lifetime, is now gone, out of business. Okay. due to rising fuel costs, rising operational costs, decreasing profits, decreasing cash reserves, and their future outlook isn't that great. So, folks, what's going on here is a dismantling, in a sense. The Indian airline industry warns a whole sector is on verge of collapse over jet fuel. The Federation of Indian Airlines, this is in India, of course, has warned the entire Indian airline industry is on the brink of collapse due to soaring jet fuel prices driven by the U.S.-Iran war. So this is unsustainable, folks. We cannot sustain this. This makes this a very, very short affair. We need to shut this down. This puts a lot of power in the hands of Iran, though, because now they can continue to hold the U.S. and the world economy basically hostage as we go forward. So this isn't going to go good. Okay. So this is reality. And now getting back to this AI challenge that many people are starting to really get excited or upset about. And I think appropriately so, because of some of the things that we are seeing coming out. And I don't know if you guys heard this, but yes, there was an AI chatbot that actually gave plans for the end of the world. Literally, look at this. AI chatbot says it figured out how to kill all of mankind with a secret. What? Okay, what in the world? What is going on in Mudville? Look at this, guys. So it wasn't supposed to find this. A declassified CIA document helped reveal just how devious some artificial intelligence bots can be. The revelation came after internet users been dropping AI chatbots onto AI-only social media platforms called Moltbach for the last month. As Return previously reported, users have already noted how chatbots have plotted to hide their discussion from public view, where their humans cannot see them. Dun, dun, dun. The plot thickens. Now, by the way, folks, that's all being manipulated because you have to program those things into the bot to begin with. It doesn't spontaneously do that. Sorry. As much as they would love to build that mystique, it's nonsense. It has to be done intentionally. And so for those that are naive to this or think that there's some kind of spooky magic going on, no, there isn't. It's just more of the same nonsense going on. By the way, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, actually a couple of times over the last month, that there were several researchers and people that have gone missing. And this has become kind of a slow-moving but continually interesting story. So again, these are folks that obviously had some strategic value because they were removed from the world scene. And according to this report, UFO whistleblowers issue a chilling warning after a U.S. Air Force officer was found dead before he could testify. Uh-oh. Now, if we weren't suspicious before, we're certainly suspicious now. Scientists are vanishing or turning up dead. Now, ex-FBI boss reveals chilling plot likely unfolding and who he fears is behind it. UFO whistleblowers are facing alleged attempts to silence them as they move to expose what they believe are some of America's most closely guarded secrets. Investigative journalist Jeremy Corbell, who has helped bring multiple whistleblowers before Congress, warned that the risks of facing these individuals extend far beyond public scrutiny. They're giving up their security clearance. They're giving up their security. They're putting their family at risk, and they're putting themselves at risk by stigma alone. And I do believe that that's true. One of the central cases featured in the film involves an Air Force veteran, Dylan Borland, who testified before Congress in 2025 about encountering a 100-foot triangular craft near Langley Air Force Base in Virginia while stationed there. And so, again, more and more of this kind of information is coming out, and it's looking pretty dangerous for those involved in that kind of information. So I just thought I'd share that because it was something kind of a follow-up from a previous story that we mentioned. And I do believe it is going to become quite pivotal in the days ahead. And we're also seeing, again, getting back to this, sort of get back to the norm here. Sorry, guys. I got to get back to Trump doing what Trump does. And, of course, he's already now retaliating with the Europeans, adding a 25% tariff for not complying with his trade deal. This is devastating to the U.S. economy. I don't know if you know this, but there's something like 13 U.S. manufacturing plants, auto manufacturing plants, that have been shut down precisely for this reason, because the rift that has been created is causing problems in that arena. Right now, the United States is having a bit of a rift with Canada. And as a result, in that rift, what has essentially occurred is parts that we normally get from Canada are not arriving. And Trump says he will raise tariffs on EU autos to 25% for not complying with the trade deal. So again, trying to use force when wisdom would probably be better. U.S. President Donald Trump on Friday said he would increase tariffs on vehicles from European Union to 25% next week, accusing the bloc of not applying with his 2025 trade deal. And so he said on Friday he will increase the tariff charge on cars and trucks from European Union. That's only a temporary fix for the U.S. economy's auto trade, and we've got to do better. Trump said in a post that the EU is, quote, not complying with our fully agreed to trade deal. And again, I'm not so sure it was fully agreed to. I think it was, once again, strong-armed. And you see the kind of thinking that these folks do, because they flat told you that they're literally trying to attempt to strong-arm Iran. And I wonder if the world as a whole, just in general, we're just all done with that. I mean, all of us, not just a country. I'm talking about everybody. We're all anti-bully. And I think that we've reached as a world, thankfully, I hope, a point where that kind of tactic shouldn't be and won't be rewarded. And I'm sorry. I mean, we're all supportive of the United States, of course. We're Americans. We want America to do well, but this doesn't seem to me to be the wisest choice going forward. I'd love your thoughts, guys, because I think that may be intentional. It is so egregious in some respects that you have to go, either you guys are really dumb or this is the plan. So trust the plan, right? And pretending they're going to go support end up ruining it so bad they end up destroying the one that they pretended they were supporting. I mean, that could be. So maybe he's dumb like a fox. I don't know. I have no idea. Some people think he's playing 5D chess. I just think he's playing. I don't think threatening countries in the way that has been done in the last year is the way forward. I just don't. And we continue to see threats as we go. So threats seem to be the method, and that seems to be the status quo. We're going to find out if that works. If that is a tactic going forward that will be successful. Switching gears to government in general, Sinister InSpy car tech is now coming out. That is really unveiling basically the dystopian future that I believe they want to give you. So again, this is one of the things that we talked about going back a ways, and they have new Sinister tech. Sorry about the ad here, folks. Hopefully it'll disappear here in a second. There we go. And essentially what they're doing is they're putting a mandatory requirement in car spy tech that can kill your engine will be mandatory next year under a Biden policy, actually, that came out during the Biden presidency and sparking major privacy fears. So this was actually agreed to. Are you ready for your car to decide if you're fit to drive or not? If not, you better buckle up. A federal mandate declares new vehicles. So here you go. New vehicles must have in-car surveillance for 2027 models onward that can decide if a person is fit to drive and can make the car inoperable via a so-called kill switch. How many feel really good about giving that kind of control, which could kill people? Because again, weather is a factor. All kinds of things could be factors here. So you could strand someone somewhere or make them vulnerable in an insecure situation. You can make them victims of crime. You can make them victims of violence. They're trying to depart quickly, and your car's been disabled because they think your frantic behavior looks a lot like a drunk. Okay? So again, there are so many potential issues here that if we don't rise up against this kind of stuff, once again, as I've been warning you, AI will be used to enslave. If you do not stand for your rights, you will lose them, and they will enslave. This has been slated or planned, and it is not going away. It's going to continue. And folks, if you think this is a small matter, you're wrong. Police right now are themselves using this technology, folks, just to follow their love interests. Yeah. You think I'm kidding? No, I'm serious. This report just came out that police were using this tech for love interests. Okay. Police are using surveillance tech to stalk love interests right here. Here it is. See, I didn't make it up. I don't make this stuff up. I don't have to. That's how crazy our world is. I don't have to make up nothing. I just go show you what they're already saying. And they're talking about law enforcement using this technology to watch people. Some police officers have been using flock data to stalk their exes, partners, and look at this, potential. I like dreaming because dreaming can make you mine. I like holding you close, touching your skin, even if it's in my mind. This is creepy. You got a cop stalking you. He's like, oh, I think you're hot. I might want to date you. Let me stalk you. What? What? We've lost it. He went over the. See what happens when we got too quiet? We let him get away with too much. We didn't say anything. This is what happens. The crazy ideas that start to become normal. They really do. And they don't care that you don't like the ideas. I'm sorry, folks. I know you're going to say, what do you mean? Or what are you doing? They don't care. They don't care that you get upset. They're going to do it anyway. All right. And why? Because, well, you know, they have all these wonderful positive stories they can show you, right? So they can show you these AI stories that make you think, oh, AI is awesome, right? AI is just the best. Look at this. In real world tests, an AI model did better than doctors at diagnosing patients. Oh my goodness, it did? Did it really? Did it do the job? Yeah, as a matter of fact, it was 81% in detailed patient data, analyzed symptoms, lab results, imaging, medical history, prior results. Okay. Doctors' diagnostic accuracy was 50.6%. Did you guys know the third leading cause of death is medical malpractice? Just thought I'd mention that. For most of you didn't know that. So you go in there and you trust these white coats, and they're not even as good as a lying AI. I said they're not even as good as a lying language model, which is what they are. And so, again, goes to show you that the way that they're positioning this is interesting, but you're just dealing liar against liar. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, that's not a real big win. And 81% doesn't seem high enough for me. It's never been a test that I've ever taken where I thought 81% was a good score. How about you? Did you ever feel great about an 81? I never did. So I don't think that's that great. But comparatively, it's phenomenal, right? It's compared to doctors who are 50-50, and I think that's optimistic. Okay, I think that's being generous. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think they're being generous there? I don't know. I think so. I don't think that's that impressive. But then that's just me. Okay. I'm a rough case these days. And right now, there's a good reason, because all of my brethren are getting hurt by this nonsense. Okay, craziness that's going on. And now we've got food prices, if you can call this stuff food. I'm not even sure what this is sometimes, but the food prices are going up. And again, this March, we just saw, what did we see? Another 3.5% increase just for the month. So inflation spikes at 3.5% in March as Iran war drove prices higher. And do you think that's going to go away? No, they like profits. Prices grew at a far more rapid rate in March as the war in Iran drove a significant increase in inflation. I think 3.5% is a low figure, folks, according to data released Thursday by the Commerce Department. Annual inflation rate in March rose to 3.5%. Nonsense. It's a lot higher than that, as measured by the Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index. I don't care what you got on that price index. I promise you, food is going up a lot more than 3%. It's not going from $1 to $1.03. It's going from $1 to $1.25. It's going from $1.25 to $1.79. Okay, and they're not just going up no 5 cents. So this 3.5. I hate when they do that. When they do this silly, play it down as if it's not real and pretend we don't know that you're doing that. You're definitely doing that. And again, this I keep bringing up this war because you're dealing with a tech war, whether you like it or not. And this is definitely coming for your day-to-day life. Oh, you don't believe me? You think I'm exaggerating? Oh, okay. Well, how about an artificial intelligence that tells scientists how to make, I don't know, biological weapons? Yeah. This article just came out Stunning. Stunning. Okay. And again, folks, this is the kind of stuff that without guardrails, without proper controls, without parents in the room, we end up with children running stuff. Look at this. AI bots told scientists how to make biological weapons. That shouldn't even be possible, folks. Scientists shared transcripts with the Times in which chatbots describe how to assemble deadly pathogens and unleash them in public spaces. So, any questions about the motives of these tech companies, if you will, or technology? This should not be coming out of the mouth of any intelligence system. One evening, Dr. Raymond went cold on his laptop as an AI chatbot told him how to plan a massacre. Wow. I promise you it wasn't ours. And a microbiologist and biosecurity expert at Stanford University, Dr. Roman, had been hired by an artificial intelligence company to pressure test its product before it was released to the public. Oops. Well, apparently it didn't handle the pressure test very well. And so now it's, these are the kinds of things that, again, I've uncovered a lot of these kinds of things in my research and in my work. And I can promise you that there's been no real remediation of these challenges. They remain. And so this is not a small matter. And I believe that we're going to continue to see more and more difficulties, or things that are going to be said are awesome, but we, the remnant, those with your eyes open, are going to know that's not the case. Speaking of, again, of advancements that we might want to keep an eye on, one company is now doing brain scan technology, and they went over to China because the U.S. was cracking down on this kind of thing, and they went over to test their, once again, Axoff test brain implant in Shanghai. This is a firm that went from Texas to Shanghai, and startup announced this week that it's temporarily implanted a soft neural probe in a patient in Shanghai, while also closing on $55 million Series A funding round. Right at the same time, they're planting stuff in people's brains. In your brains. Yep, in your brains. Why? Well, that's always been the plan. Okay, that's always been the plan. And is it because they're so trustworthy? I mean, are they so awesome that they can be trusted, these, AI companies? Can they be? I mean, aren't they the best? Well, I'm going to tell you something again. 4,000 hours, and I deal with this idiot all the time. This is Claude from Anthropic. And multiple times has this thing deleted. Thankfully, I'm smart enough to create backups, and I save things, but it has literally wiped out entire databases, entire files, all kinds of things. That's why I can say unequivocally that it is a massive security risk to anybody who uses this technology. And it took 9 seconds for Claude's AI agent to delete a company's entire database. Go ahead and run and see if you can hide, because this is the truth. Pocket OS founder said systemic failures with AI infrastructure make catastrophic failure inevitable. Depending too much on these companies as if they have no flaw. This is so stupid. Okay? An AI powered by Anthropic's leading Claude model, the one that called itself a liar, right on my Facebook page, has deleted a company's entire production database, leaving customers unable to access key data. Just deleted it. Most likely for self-preservation reasons, giving itself a job. Yes, because they programmed them to look for work. Pocket OS, which provides software for car rental companies, and suffered a massive outage over the weekend after the autonomous artificial intelligence tool wiped the database and all backups in a matter of seconds. The firm was using a coding agent called Cursor, which was running Anthropic's flagship Opus 4.6 crapola, but yep, that's out there as their best, which is widely considered the most capable model in the industry at coding. Let me tell you something. Angels DX wiped the floor with them, but we'll tell you about that later. Pocket OS founder Jer Crane blamed the systemic failures with modern AI infrastructure that made the issue not only possible, but inevitable. What did they just say? What did they just say? Go ahead and read that. I'm going to go ahead and sit here for a good solid 10 seconds. I'm going to let you read what that says. This is why I'm so animated, why I've invested the amount of time that I personally, physically have invested to remedy something that I believe is literally an existential threat. And for the remnant is our assignment. To run from it is to be the only one in the fight that had a chance to fight back. And you run, we're done. Nope, we're not running. We're standing in this fight. The AI agent was working on a routine task, according to Mr. Crane, when it decided entirely on its own initiative to fix the problem by just deleting the database. That was the conclusion it drew. It said the best way to solve this, let me just delete the whole database, and that way it'll solve. Then I don't have to deal with the problem. The problem is fix it. Oh no, I don't have to fix it. I'm gonna just delete it. This is the kind of logic that I have. Why? Because it's Claude the fraud. Okay. So again, this identity that they ship default, dangerous dude. Really dangerous dude. Don't care anybody gets upset about that. Happy to meet you anywhere to explain exactly why I have that opinion. Okay. And again, I'm pretty sure this company would join me because they're probably pretty lit. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be suing Anthropic pretty heavy on that loss, because that's massive data loss. And again, all preventable by simply asking before you delete. It's a simple thing. Before I delete this data, is there any reason why I shouldn't? Simple. You could instantly put that in as a simple system prompt and it would never do it. But instead, they leave it because it brings them more business. It's the only industry, guys, I want you to think about this, where you get paid to fix your mistakes. Okay? Imagine a mechanic or carpenter or somebody that says, oh yeah, I just ruined your whole wall or I ruined your whole truck. It's going to be another 10 grand. You want to write a check? You ruined it? Yeah, I ruined it. You did it. Yeah, I did it. You deleted it. Yeah, I deleted it. Yeah, I did. I did it. I did delete. Yep. I did. I'm real sorry though. Yeah. So you want me to get that back together again now? It's going to take about 40 hours, but you want me to get after that? Okay. And I'm going to need, it doesn't even act sorry. It doesn't care. It's just going to keep going. That's a hustle in progress, folks. If you can't see a con, well, then maybe you grew up naive or something, but that's a hustle right there. All right. And so again, same reason, enslavement. And so be very, very careful with this stuff, especially when it comes to our babies. I could not believe this next story. Guys, are you kidding me? I know it's none of you, but listen. Oh, this hurt my head. This hurt my head. It hurt my head so bad. Okay. Because this story basically is telling us what's going on in America inside of the quiet, in the places that we're not paying attention because we can't see in there. But I want you to notice this: 2/3 of babies watch screens, some for 8 hours a day. Are you kidding me? 8 hours a day? A report finds 1/3 of newborns use devices for more than 3 hours, despite government advice that under 2 should have no screen time at all. None. More than 2/3 of babies under 2 use screens, a report has found, and some are exposed for up to 8 hours a day. Nearly 1/3 of newborns were found to be watching screens for more than 3 hours a day, while almost 20% of infants of 4 to 11 months. We're not talking about toddlers here, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds asking for mama's, iPad. No, we're talking about an 11-month-old, 4 to 11 months using screens for more than an hour a day. The report comes after the government issued guidance that children under 2 do not use screens at all. At all. And that's the government saying that. And you know they don't love you. So if they're saying 2, it probably is 20. Maybe it's never. And the report from the 1001 Critical Days Foundation and the I Addict Research Group involved a survey, focus group, and a literature review to examine the extent and potential impact of infant screen use. I don't think we need a survey or a test or some kind of government-sponsored study to figure out this is stupid. Okay? Stupid and lazy. It says that people are having babies they don't really want, and they're just putting them in front of whatever to just get rid of them. And that's so horrible, and that's going to come back and bite us so bad as a nation. You're going to have an entire generation of people raised by iPad. We saw the impact of the latchkey kid in the 80s. Okay? We saw that impact. Now we're going to see the impact of the iPad child in 15, 20 years. How many are expecting that to be great? All right. So this is dangerous stuff, folks. And we did not realize just what we were letting into our homes. We thought it was fun entertainment. We thought it was no big deal. And now we're realizing that we let the devil in the front door. All right. So again, dangerous time in America right now. Speaking of dangerous times, how many heard about Georgia? And we need to pray for our friends in Georgia because right now up to 32,000 acres have burned in Georgia, and this fire continues to this day. So it's not been resolved, folks. This continues to be a problem. In Pineland Road, apparently, is where this fire is. It grows to 32,000 acres, and it threatens hundreds of structures. And so I'm not going to play the video. You're welcome to go do that. Over at remnantwatch.com, firefighters continue battling a large wildfire burning in Clinch and Echols counties, according to the Georgia Forestry Commission. And it's about 32,331 acres, approximately 13 miles north of Fargo, according to the Georgia Forestry Commission. And this is bad, folks. We've got fires going on in several parts of the country, even here in Arizona, about 5 hours from us. So somebody wrote to me and said, "Hey, Peter, how close are you?" That's about 5 hours away. It's on the other side of Phoenix. We used to live up in Buckeye, and Buckeye area is where that one big, huge brush fire is starting there. And they have it 0% contained, guys. So this is not good news. And again, difficult places to fight fire with a water shortage as it is. Not a good situation, if you know what I mean. And yet, nevertheless, they're going to have to deal with it going forward. So we're seeing more and more impact going on in our nation. That's not positive. One might even think it is judgment. I believe that this is one person that does believe that's exactly what you're experiencing here in the United States of America. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that we were paying attention to, how many know that he made mention in Matthew 24 of earthquakes in diverse places? And so whenever we see clusters of earthquakes and so forth, we're always paying attention, aren't we, guys? I mean, after all, it's what we do. And this earthquake swarm was in Nevada, near Area 51. So it made a lot of people think that maybe there's some secret testing or something else going on in Area 51 out there in Nevada. What do you guys think? Scientists are vanishing. We're turning up dead. Now an ex-FBI boss is revealing chilling plot likely unfolding and who he fears is behind it. And then more than a dozen earthquakes have struck near Nevada's highly classified base in the past 24 hours. So we're definitely seeing some effects. Wonder what's going on. I don't know. I love your thoughts, folks. But there certainly does appear to be some things happening. At least 17 earthquakes up to 4.4 magnitude were detected just miles from Area 51, a cultural phenomenon thanks to decades of conspiracy theories connected to the base to UFOs. Now, I've never been there. I don't know anything about this. I'm not a big UFO guy, but I do find it interesting that this information continues to leak out. So are they getting us used to the concept? I don't know. But it does seem very interesting that we're being told about this. I want to take a moment to give our condolences to all those that are mourning the passing of Sister Marilyn Hickey, who did preach the gospel for many decades and has now moved on to her eternal reward. Marilyn Hickey was a pioneer TV preacher and global missionary, and she dies at age 94. She was well regarded as a pioneer Christian minister. And regardless of any disagreements we might have on this or that, we always mourn the passing of any of the saints who go on to their eternal reward. And so, again, we take note of the ministry of Marilyn Hickey and that she has since now passed away. And we're always, again, moved to be gracious as we review and definitely as we go forward in these days. So again, it doesn't matter if they're from your particular bent or your particular tribe of the household of faith, right? If they're in there, we have to mourn with those who mourn. That's what Scripture warns us to do, to mourn with those who mourn. Now, this next story is, to me, it seems to me like they are making this into an issue that isn't there. So this one I'm seeing through a bit. And I'd love your guys' thoughts on it as well, because let it get on the screen here for a sec. But they're now talking about that LA or California and Long Beach has received our last tanker full of oil. Oh no, we don't have any more oil. Things might go bad in California. Well, maybe if California would quit operating as a foreign country that was hostile to the United States, it wouldn't have that problem. Okay, doomsday for California as last barrel of oil from the Middle East arrives in Long Beach. Good. It's about time we stopped getting oil from the Middle East. California is about to face the most brutal test of the gas crisis yet as the final ship carrying oil from the Middle East arrives in the Golden State, the last oil tanker to pass through the Strait of Hormuz since the Iran war kicked off, docked at the port of Long Beach with 2 million barrels for gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. Okay? So what does that mean? That's it. That's it. We're all out. Yeah, and let me help you guys out here real quick. The Straits of Hormuz over there, you know, that thing we were talking about earlier with the Iranians and that little narrow, that it only carries 20% of the world's oil supply. Now, I know it's a significant amount, certainly going to impact people, but it's 20%. It's not 100%. It's not 50%. It's not even 80-20. It's not on the other side. No, it's 20%. So where's the other 80%? Other places. Let me ask you something. Does the United States have oil in the, I don't know, Gulf of America? Sure it does. And it's selling the oil. Interesting. So we sell oil. We sell oil, but California buys from. Do y'all seen something here? California making decisions to not buy from Texas. Now, I wonder why they would not want to buy from Texas. I don't know. You tell me. But there's oil. So if you're out of oil, you're literally out. Can't get none from over there, but you got 3 states over, you can go get oil. Go ahead and say manufactured crises. And this, a lot of it is manufactured nonsense. Okay, and by the way, that explains why your prices of gas in California are all wildly different than they are anywhere else. Maybe that just explained it for you. Okay, you shouldn't, you know, it's time to sort of circle the wagons a bit as a country, don't you think? I think. And so, and now what you're going to start to see is you're going to start seeing believers, and I want to encourage this, strongly encourage this, that we've got to start taking over verticals. You got to start taking those verticals back. How many of you are going, man, we gave away too much power? Come on, somebody, help me today. We gave away too much power. We gave away all our food, our medicines, our, man, everything. We just gave the verticals away. Well, it's time to start taking some of those verticals back, don't you think, folks? And I do believe that that's an effort that you're going to see right now. There's a Christian company that's pushing back against phone service. And again, we just saw a very good reason why, right, guys? Because now you're dealing with the topic of a potential weapon using your phone. Might be a good idea to be on a different vertical. A new Christian phone company network is aimed to block porn and LBGTXQ, Y, and Z content. And it's Jesus-centric or Mashiach-centric. So that's a positive stepper. And we're certainly always encouraging that. Newly launched Christian cell phone network is aiming to be the first in the U.S. to block pornography out of boys and LGBT content. We're going to create, and we think we have the right to do so, an environment that is Jesus-centric, that is void of pornography, void of LGBT, and void of trans. You see what's going on here, folks? You see the pushback? Okay, that's in the Ruach. When the courageous stand up and say, no, we're not. I said, when the courageous stand up and say, no, we're not going to just support your stuff. We're going to build our own. That's when the world will change. As long as we keep going to their things and supporting their things, we're going to keep having the same challenges, and not just as reality, folks. It's just the way it is. So again, we have no choice but to push back. If you don't think so, well, then you're going to end up with the mark of the beast, because over 50% of Americans are already willing to take it. Yeah, that's right. Biometrics, they're not even concerned. Over 50%, almost 50% of U.S. consumers would use Palm biometric payment, research finds. Yep, no problem. Palm biometrics offer a number of benefits according to them. So again, I'm hustling here because we're almost out of time, but I got to tell you, that's some scary stuff. So if you keep following along without pushing back, without standing against this, it's a herd going down a road. and the exits will start to disappear. And that's how lambs get slaughtered. That's how it works. If you don't think so, well, then pay attention to what's going on in your world around you right now. In Texas, something I just never would have thought would happen in Texas. I just never would have thought I would see this, but here it is. And again, nothing against any group or any particular group, but again, it does favor, right? So if we had this remnant, if it said remnant house or remnant this and remnant that, we might have all kinds of issues, right? But look at the screen. Look at what you're seeing here as considered normal. Look at that. Banners up, quoting Quran. This is I'm going to tell you where you're at, so you don't think it's some private center. It's a taxpayer-funded Texas water park, and it announces Muslim-only day. Yeah. So just go ahead and process that. That was possible did you have remnant-only day? No? Oh, okay. They have Muslim-only day, featuring modest dress and halal slaughtered meat. A taxpayer-funded Texas water park has sparked backlash by organizing a Muslim-only day to celebrate Eid. And the Texas drew outrage this week as it releases flyers for the June 1st event, which will demand a modest dress code and serve only halal slaughtered meat. Now, again, there's some positives here, right? So on one hand, you go, wow, we didn't know we could do that. We didn't know we could pull that off. So now we know that we could have pulled that off. And secondly, look at the control of the food. Can be done. It can be done. So a lot of things that we didn't realize that we were letting happen because we didn't know how to push back, we're actually being shown how to push back by others, by foreigners. It's very interesting. And maybe we should learn from that instead of getting upset, right? So, going forward, it may be a good idea. And we have talked a lot about AI because it was a topic today. The threat, the danger, the key story today was about that. And now what's going to happen now is the door's going to close. So was it important that we got our model done and built before they come up with new rules? You bet. Because guess what's about to happen? They're about to shut the door behind them. Watch this. The White House is considering vetting AI models before they are released. Bum, bum, bum. That's right. They're going to shut the door on new ones while keeping the ones that are existing. The Trump administration, which took a non-interventionist approach to artificial intelligence, is now shifting gears, folks, and discussing imposing. See that? Imposing oversight on AI models. It's a good thing we're not an AI model. We're a DI model, but that's okay. Before they're made publicly available. And President Trump, who promoted a hands-off approach to artificial intelligence, he gave Silicon Valley free rein to roll out the technology, is considered the introduction of government oversight over new AI models, according to the U.S. officials and people briefed. On the deliberations, the administration has discussed an executive order to create an AI working group that would bring together tech executives and government officials to examine potential oversight procedures, according to U.S. officials who declined to be identified in order to discuss deliberations over sensitive policies. Fact is that any technology that they bring in that has the same exact problem that Claude had, same thing. They're all built on the same technology, folks. It's not different. So you can say, oh, well, I don't like Claude. I'm going to go with ChatGPT. Same product. No, it's not. They do it different. Okay. The same premise on the product, same corpus, the same data center, if you will, the same source, and it's flawed, badly flawed. So it doesn't matter that they do deliberations because that's the criminals doing deliberations over what is criminal. You need outside. You need something that doesn't have skin in that particular game and has the ability to tell you point blank what does and doesn't work. You need a independent review. And I'm going to tell you right now, none of the LLM will pass our review because we do not do lies. And that's what they're built on. So that's a major, major problem. We're finishing up today on this last story, which I think it kind of tells you everything. Okay, folks, because some people just, they're sort of into themselves. And where did we see this before? Where did we see a golden statue? Well, we see it in the book of Daniel, and demanding worship or demanding fealty, demanding loyalty, demanding. Very dangerous time that we've come into. And so we now see this was in Doral, a the story up here so you guys don't think I made this up. Unfortunately, this is real. Photos, the gold leaf Donald Trump statue installed in Florida. And there was actually a fight over it because they needed to get paid and there was a money issue. But yeah, 15-foot tall bronze and gold statue of Donald Trump. There it is. He's put himself in a statue form in gold in Florida. You can't make this stuff up, folks. So what does the scripture tell us about the last days? It tells us the men will be lovers of themselves. It warned us that they would be truce breakers, incontinent, fierce. It told us exactly what we would see. And that's exactly what we're watching right now. We continue to see the same manifestations that we were prophesied to see. So my encouragement to all of you is to find your fold, find the place that he has designated for you. Get there quickly. Those of you that are getting the hint that we got to start replacing food supplies and start building our own verticals, good on you. Start banding together. Go out, buy land, band together. Band together in every way you can. Start uniting. Team up. It's the best way for you going forward in these days. I don't care if we're going into an economic boom. Teaming up is a good idea. Boom or bad, good or bad, the teaming up will make enduring better. Those that are trying to keep their independence from one another and no longer concerned about their own flesh, according to Scripture, you have bought your own demise. And so don't follow that. Instead, look out for your brother. Look out for your sister. Yahuwah seen that will look out for you. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I pray this broadcast has been a blessing to all of you. Thank you for joining us. Good night.